What's up, guys? Welcome to the line change. And in this particular video, we're going to be asking the question: should the Vancouver Canucks start extension talks with any of their 4 pending 2026 UFAs come July 1st? Basically, what that means is those that are pending UFAs in 2026 can start negotiating an extension July 1st. So we're going to dive into an article from our friends at Canucks Army, this one written by Stefan Roget, and let's go ahead and just dive right into it. Welcome to the cusp of June, which really in hockey terms means welcome to the final month of the NHL season, and welcome to the final month before the opening up of the 2025 free agent frenzy. As we've already noted countless times, this year's edition promises to be an excessively frenzied one, with cap space available league-wide and organizational wallets wide open. But July 1 actually denotes 2 important dates on the NHL calendar. It is the opening of free agency for those newly minted UFAs, yes, but it's also the point at which next year's 2026 UFA class, those not on one-year contracts anyway, can begin negotiating extensions. Players on one-year deals must wait until January 1st. And so, on July 1st, 2026, the Vancouver Canucks become eligible to sign any of their 2026 UFAs, meaning those whose contracts expire after this coming 25-26 season, to extensions. So on July 1st, 2025, not 2026. At the very least, it's when they're eligible to officially open up negotiations. But should they? As of now, the Canucks have 4 2026 pending UFAs. Of note, below will offer some commentary on whether the team should look to start talks with them in a month or so, or whether those talks should wait. First up is Teddy Blueger. Blueger has been a consistent bottom 6 performer since signing with the Canucks back in 2023, and has certainly returned fair value on that initial 1-year, $1.9 million deal, and at least the first year of his subsequent 2-year, $1.8 million AAV extension. But considering Blueger's role on the team, the fact he'll turn 31 in August, and the fact that the Canucks have some internal replacements on hand already, the chances of Blueger being extended early seem very slim. Right now, Blueger is at the bottom end of a depth chart that already contains Elias Pettersson and Philip Hedl, and that is aiming to add at least one more center to the mix. At the same time, he's facing pressure from Aatu Räty, who proved to be the team's most reliable face-off taker last season and is now waiver eligible, which pretty much guarantees his spot for 25-26. That could result in Blueger sliding over to the wing sooner rather than later, and it will almost certainly result in his having to wait on contract talks too. Next up, we have Conor Garland. What a tough call here. On the one hand, Conor Garland has perhaps been the Canucks' most consistent scorer since arriving in 2021. Maybe their only consistent scorer. He's notched 19, 17, 20, and 19 goals while missing just 7 regular season games over 4 seasons. His defensive presence has steadily improved as well, and he remains a possession whiz and intangible agitator out there. We must also note that the Canucks are currently pretty short on offense, consistent or otherwise. Garland returns as a top-scoring winger from last season with 50 points, beating Jake DeBrusk by 2 points. It's one of the reasons why, despite him making a tempting trade chip for other teams, it's unlikely to see him traded this summer. The Canucks need him as much, if not more, in 25-26 than they did last year. But opening up extension negotiations is another matter entirely. Garland is 29 and won't turn 30 until March of next year. That's still young enough and with enough prime years remaining to think an extension is possible, but really it will largely depend on who else the Canucks have on hand at that point. We imagine talks with Garland won't open up on July 1st. At any rate, the Canucks will wait to see who else they land in free agency and through the trade market. and how prospects like Jonathan Lekremaki progress, if the Canucks can add another scoring winger, they will probably be fine to let Garland's contract expire. Unless, of course, Garland were willing to take some sort of discount compared to what he might land on the open market. But after a season in which Garland lost his most respected teammate, JT Miller, and a coach he spoke incredibly high of, in Rick Tocchet, we're not so sure Garland would be willing to open up extension talks himself. Next up, Thatcher Demko. As difficult as it is to say, all signs point to no here. Demko is 29, going on 30 in December, and is only one season separated from a Vezina nomination. Normally, that'd be prime goalie extension time. But there's the uncertain recovery from multiple injuries, including one to the popliteus that we've been told Demko will just have to live with from now on. There's the fact that the Canucks already signed Kevin Lankinen to a 4-year extension with a full no movement clause in the first 2 years. There's also Artur Silov's pending loss of waiver exemption combined with his utter stardom in the current AHL playoffs. Add it all up, and there's just no way the Canucks can justify signing Demko to an early extension unless he comes to them first and with an offer that includes no real pay raise, but that seems unlikely. Maybe the Canucks start token negotiations out of respect and out of Demko's past statements about wanting to stay. But as soon as a raise starts entering the conversation, it gets tricky to justify without seeing more of Demko's recovery. Honestly, from where we're sitting, it seems more likely that Demko is traded this offseason than signed to an extension, and for largely the same reasons that we have listed above. Lastly, Kiefer Sherwood. Finally, we hit a player that might actually receive an extension this summer. The city of Vancouver fell in love with Sherwood this season, and with good reason. He provided so much bang for buck with 19 goals and 40 points for just $1.5 million, and he provided even more bang for bang in breaking the NHL record for hits in a single season. The Canucks can keep him around without doing much more than doubling his current salary. We have to imagine they'd love to do so now or in the future. A $3 million cap hit will be decidedly below the league average by the time the 2025 offseason concludes. Give Sherwood that and some term, and you might just have a deal. From Sherwood's perspective, the season blew his previous career highs out of the water. As much as he'd like to repeat his 25-26, that's not something, or as much as he'd like to repeat that in 25-26, that's not something that can be counted on. Not for a guy who's 30 years old and was in the AHL as recently as 2022/2023. Sherwood and his camp would be wise to attempt to negotiate based on this past season as soon as they're able to, and the Canucks will probably be willing to meet them at least halfway if they do. So there's that. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. Like, which of these four do you think could either receive an extension, as early as, before the end of this offseason? Which one do you think will most likely not receive an extension and possibly leave in free agency next year? Personally, I think I agree with Stefan Roget on Kiefer Sherwood. I do think the Canucks do need to extend him. As it's mentioned in the article, City of Vancouver and the Vancouver Canucks fans absolutely fell in love with Sherwood, myself included, and I would absolutely love to see Sherwood stick around for the foreseeable future. Another one that I think that the Canucks should do is Conor Garland, as I would hate to lose Garland to free agency next year, as Garland is such a fan favorite, especially with myself, as I absolutely love Conor Garland. I just love his feistiness. I love, the fact that he's an agitator and that he's a puck possession whiz, and his defense having improved, and it would just be a bummer, I guess is a word I could use, to lose Conor Garland in free agency, especially considering how well he played last season and just how consistent he has been, especially when it comes to their scoring. And with Elias Pettersson, having a down year and us basically rolling the dice to see if Pettersson is able to bounce back next year. I do think Teddy Blueger is the odd man out in this whole scenario, especially with those coming up like Atu Ratu that I mentioned. When it comes to Demko, that is a bit tricky. I have to agree that there's probably a good chance that Demko is traded by the time the season starts. Would I like that? No, obviously not. I absolutely love Demko and believe he should sign an extension, but we will have to see, as we of course have Archer Seelovs waiting in the wings. You got Tolopilo, you've got Patera, you've got Ty Young who's coming up, and then of course you have a couple young goaltenders, as I've mentioned previously. But I want to know what you guys think about whether or not the Canucks should start extension talks with these four individuals that will be free agents next season or around this time next year. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. But before you guys do that, be sure to check out Gassy Jack Art, as this video is a proud presentation of Gassy Jack Art, sponsored by Gassy Jack Art as well. And Gassy Jack Art is Gassy Jack Art produces hockey prints on archival paper and canvas that have been rated to last over 100 years. Their product range features a variety of players from different teams, including the Edmonton Oilers, Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs, Calgary Flames, Colorado Avalanche, and your Vancouver Canucks, as well as more. They also have non-hockey related prints as well. So go ahead and check out Gassy Jack Art. I will leave a link to his website in the description down below. Go ahead and get yourself some prints. Now is the time, especially with him continuing his end of season sale, which means you can buy 4 prints for the price of 2. Something that I have already done. I bought myself 4 prints, and I just recently ordered 4 more, and I will continue to add to my collection and support Gassy Jack Art. You guys should do the same. Once again, Gassy Jack Art, you can find a link to his website in the description down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content, be sure to smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a single video. As well as, if you want to stay up to date on your Abbotsford Canucks and their current playoff run, definitely turn on those notifications so you don't miss a single recap video. You can find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook. Just search The Line Change. You can find us on Instagram at The Line Change. You can find us on X at Line Change Van. You can find us on TikTok at the.line.change.po. Also, feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. If you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, once again, much like with our social media pages, feel free to give us a follow on Spotify, as well as leave a rate and review. It's greatly appreciated. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, go Canucks, go Abby, and I'll see you guys in the next video.